Hello there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you are having a fantastic weekend. Today I have a card for you that I made for my beautiful daughter. It's her birthday today. She is 17. So I had to use this stamp set by Simon Says Stamp called Beautiful Flowers. And I'm going to do something that you may have seen out there recently. The most recent one that I have seen is from Christina Werner. And so I'm just going to start dabbing some paint on there. And you'll see me bring my stamp set back over the top because I'm kind of doing it backwards, where you would typically stamp your image and then paint over the top of that. I'm looking for a messy look. So I have some Strathmore 140-pound watercolor paper, and I have my Mijello Mission Gold watercolors, and I'm using my silver number 4 brush. You could probably use a thicker brush for this, but this is what I have. So that's what I'm using, and I'm just slapping color down. There's and I'll, like I said, bring the stamp set back over just to kind of see that I'm getting the good coverage or the coverage that I'm looking for. And like I said, really no rhyme or reason to it other than just kind of slapping it down. You do have to be a little bit careful when using colors like complementary colors like the green and the reds and pinks there, because if they get too combined, they will make mud. And I actually do end up having a little bit of a problem with that down the road here, but it's only after I kind of heat set a little bit just to get that color kind of wet dried, not too dry, and then I start putting a little bit more color over the top to intensify, and in the process I've picked up a little bit more water. So as you can see over there on that left hand side, that purple's kind of starting to seep into that green a little bit, and I start to notice it as well, and so I'll just use a cloth before it gets too crazy, and I will eventually sop that up. But it isn't until I start to, oh wait, I'm going to head over to that direction, and I realize, oh, better get that picked up. And so there wasn't too much damage done, so you can just kind of, once you've gotten the water picked up, most of it, you can go back over it. That's the nice thing about watercolor, or one of the nice things, is that you can sometimes fix your mistakes. And now I'm just splattering. I just want some splatters on there. I know it looks like a hot mess right now, but that's kind of the point. And I'm using the same colors that I've already used. So for my image, I'm going to grab my stamp platform, and I'm using the Misty Corners because this is a big stamp. I know so many of you have used this. This one was out from one of the Simon Says Stamp kits, and I just, oh golly, I love it. I love these oversized stamps. They're wonderful. So I'm going to use some VersaFine Onyx Black ink because it's pretty good at good coverage on these watercolor papers that have a little bit of tooth to them. So I will just make sure that it's stamped down pretty well, and then I'll take that out of there. And then I probably could have left it in the platform, but I'd already put the platform away, and it had the stamp image still in it, so I grabbed my mini Misty so that I could put the sentiment down. And originally I was going to put the Happy Birthday Beautiful, combine those, and I thought that's just too much sentiment on the front of that. It already has so much going on with the flowers, so I took the Happy Birthday and I set that aside, and I'm just going to stamp Beautiful on the front. And I'm going to use the VersaFine Onyx Black ink again once I get that as straight as possible. And I end up getting my fingers all in it. I sometimes forget that this ink stays wet a little bit because it's a pigment ink. So I get carried away and I start to just keep going. And so this is where I have to use my Mono Sand Eraser. This thing is fantastic for technically erasing your mistakes. It sands away the paper a little bit so you get rid of those fingerprints that I had all over that paper. So now I'm going to use my Gonzai Tombi Starry Colors, and I've chosen the red gold color. And I think I probably got a little too wet. I'm not using watercolor paper for this part. I'm just using some plain Neenah paper. But I may have gotten it a little too wet because it did start to warp a little. And if I had gone over the top of it too many times, it would have started pilling. But because I didn't need to do too much other than just the edges, because I'm planning to use this as a backing for my panel. And then I end up pulling that gold color into the image as well, and I'm going to flick some of that color on there also, just to get a few more splatters. I don't know what it is about splatters, but they're a lot of fun, and since it's already a messy look anyway. So once I get the coverage that I want, I will heat set that and then set it off to dry even a little bit more. And then when I'm ready, I will use some score tape because it's a strong tape. That 140-pound paper can be pretty heavy, and I want to make sure that that stays put. And it got a little bit warped from the water. I probably should have taped that down while I was doing my painting, but I was a little lazy and kind of in a hurry because you'll see, you may see my Turby twist in here. I was coloring in between things. So once I have all that off, I will center that as best as possible. And once you get that down, you got to be careful. See, there's the Turby twist. And then for my card base, I'm going to use some green that I have from my stash. And I will use my Score Buddy and score that at 5.5 inches. And this will be a side folding A2 size card that measures 5.5 by 4.25. And then I'm just going to use sparingly some craft tacky glue to tack that down. I wanted to make sure I had a little bit of wiggle room. And when you're using liquid glue, you tend to have a little bit more wiggle room. And then when I have that centered how I want, I'm going to pull out some Studio Katia Sunny Side Up 6mm. Oh, after I fix my mistakes here. I kind of needed a little bit more intensity. There we are. There I will pull out the Studio Katia Sunny Side Up 6mm sequins, and I'm just going to place a few of those on there. They vary in gold color, and they're really pretty. And so I thought those would tie in that gold really well and bring out the gold that I have in the backing. And then I'll use that craft tacky glue to tack those down. I didn't go crazy putting them on there. I wanted the focus still to be just on those flowers. They're so pretty. The potential for that stamp set's crazy. I know you've seen it. And so now I'm going to stamp on the inside, wishing you a happy birthday, using some Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink. And then I decided on the outside I really wanted to have You Are on top of Beautiful. This set has a lot of great sentiments that all go together, and so that's what I did. And that will end up finishing off this card once I'm done there. So if you liked this card, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss anything. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by.